like to call to order this meeting of the Monroe County Board of Commissioners. I'm very happy to say all three commissioners are here and present today in the Nat U. Hill room, and we will begin with our public statement. We, the Monroe County Board of Commissioners, renew our commitment to welcome and protect the rights of all people, regardless of age, race, color, creed, disability, sexual orientation, gender identity, marital status, economic status, and national origin. And we affirm the right of every person to live peacefully and without fear, and we will fight and resist at every step discrimination and harmful policies, whatever their source. We believe in diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, and we stand in support of our county public school systems, both RBB and MCCSC. And with that, we will move on to our department updates.
Good morning, commissioners. Can you hear me?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. Just a few updates for you this morning. According to the Indiana Department of Health dashboard, as of October 21st, emergency department visits for COVID-like illness have decreased and wastewater concentrations have decreased slightly. Flu activity across the state is still minimal. The Indiana Department of Health has announced the first flu death of the season. The CDC does recommend an annual flu vaccine for all people 6 months and older. The public health clinic does have vaccines available. You can call 812-353-3244 for an appointment.
Thank you so much. Comments or questions? Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Commissioner Madeira?
No, thank you.
Okay, I do not have any either. Thank you for being here as always. Any other department updates? You can raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium. We do have one. It is our health department's medical director, Dr. Reiterband. Good morning. You are unmuted. We're ready for you.
I was asked to update you all on immunizations. I'm not clear exactly which of them you would like. There are so many vaccinations, and we certainly encourage people to become vaccinated. Flu this year is supposed to be pretty nasty. I certainly know folks across the pond who are suffering for 2.5, 3 weeks with a single bout of flu. So I certainly encourage people to get their vaccines for flu. It's available for 6 months and older. COVID vaccines are also widely available, and they are available for people 11 years and older. The recommendation for COVID vaccines these days are that you must do that with consulting a professional. Now, that professional does not need to be a physician. It can be the pharmacist at your local pharmacy. It can be the nurse. It can be any professional. So as long as you can say, I've consulted a professional and I want the vaccine, you're good to go. The other ones that I would really encourage is that, once again, if you do not know that you are fully vaccinated for measles, please do that. MMR vaccines are available, and we know that there are multiple outbreaks across the country. We've had a couple here in Indiana already again. And we are surrounded by states in Illinois and Ohio with larger outbreaks. So we're not sure exactly why we have not seen the outbreaks here that we have in our adjacent states, but it is coming. Until there is really a 95% compliance rate with vaccines, then we are going to continue to see outbreaks of diseases that are readily avoided and lives saved if people will simply vaccinate. I'm wondering also RSV, which is respiratory syncytial virus, also has a vaccine, and this is a disease, a virus that indeed tends to attack very young children and has caused multiple deaths. So it's, while most of us who are older can manage it, certainly any child who has any kind of disability, any kind of lung issue, if they have not been vaccinated, really should be. And again, it's another one of those vaccines that is certainly suggested for those who are older and have any kind of lung problem. I'm wondering if any of the commissioners have questions or would like recommendations about some specific vaccines.
Thank you so much, Dr. Reiterman, for being here. We really appreciate it, and the insight into how people can obtain the COVID-19 vaccine, and that flu season is going to be upon us very soon. Comments or questions? Commissioner Madeira?
No, thank you very much for that detailed information.
Commissioner Jones?
No, thank you.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it, and we appreciate your good work for the health of the entire county. Thanks so much.
I'm happy to serve you all. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any other department updates? You can raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to public comment. This is for items that are not on the agenda. We ask each speaker to limit their time to 3 minutes per person and to please provide their name and county of residence at the outset of their time at the microphone. You may come up to the podium or raise your hand on Teams.
Good morning.
Good morning. You can pull that down so that you're comfortable. There you go. There you go.
Not familiar with any of this.
No, you're good. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
I'm Becky Brass, and I'm with the League of Women Voters Observer Corps, and this is my first commission meeting. As a League of Women Voters Observer, I'll be observing some in person and some virtually.
Great. Thank you for being here. We had this for quite a while, and then COVID hit, and it became difficult, so we appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Glad to be here.
Any other public comment? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to our next agenda item, please.
Move approval of the minutes for August 23rd, 2025.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments, corrections, or edits?
I have none.
All right, I don't either. Thank you, Ms. Freeman. All those in favor of approving the minutes for October 23rd, 2025, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Move approval of the claims docket, accounts payable October 30th, 2025, and payroll October 31st, 2025.
I second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Good morning. Tell us all about it.
Good morning, Commissioners. The accounts payable claims docket for October 30th, 2025 totals $3,614,556.66. This includes all emergency claims and adjustments. The payroll docket for October 31st, 2025 includes $1,571,279.25 in direct costs, and the remaining $671,991.65 were for indirect costs, for a grand total of $2,243,270.90.
Thank you so much. Any comments or questions, Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't, thank you.
Commissioner Madeira?
No, thank you.
I don't either. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item. You can raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium. All right, seeing none, we'll come back for a vote. All those in favor of approving the claims docket, accounts payable October 30th, 2025, and payroll October 31st, 2025, signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. I will note for the record, we've received reports from the Clerk of the Circuit Court for September 2025 and weights and measures for September 2025. And with that, we will move on to new business, please.
Move approval of the 2026 Department of Corrections Community Corrections Grant. Fund names: Community Corrections Program, Drug Court, and Mental Health Court. Fund numbers 9142, 9148, and 9150 in the grant amount of $1,229,334.
We have a motion.
I would like to second that.
Great. We have a motion and a second, and we have Ms. Reed joining us. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Becca Strike, Community Corrections Executive Director and Deputy Chief Probation Officer. I am here requesting that the commissioners sign our 43rd year contract with the Department of Correction. This partnership has been going on, like I said, for 43 years, where the Department of Correction provides funding for us to support alternatives to incarceration. This would include community corrections programs such as home detention, electronic monitoring, our day reporting program, and our drug testing program. This also supports 2 of our 4 problem-solving courts, including our drug treatment court and mental health court. You might notice one difference. We were disappointed to learn that this year, or for 2026, the Department of Correction is unable to help fund our pretrial program. They've been doing that for, 2026 will be our 10th year of pretrial. This did come as a surprise. Monroe County was not the only one affected by this. DOC could not fund pretrial across the entire state. Fortunately for 2026, the Indiana Supreme Court came through with a one-time assist. So our pretrial program is guaranteed to function through 2026 with that extra money, but we will be working hard next year to see how we can sustain that program. We've assessed over 20,000 defendants who have been booked into jail in order to assist the court in making release decisions. So we were disappointed to hear about that, but for 2026, we're solid, but stay tuned. So Thank you.
Wow, that's a huge disappointment. Comments or questions, Commissioner Madeira?
No, I've done a lot of research with pretrial release programs, drug courts, and I think that they're very effective, and we're very proud to have them in our community. So it is wonderful to see this on our agenda for today. Thank you.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes, I'm very pleased that the Supreme Court did come through for 2026. Really, pretrial is something that needs to be expanded, not have money taken away from it. This is very unfortunate on the part of the state.
It really is. Well, we're interested and obviously hopeful that this funding can continue beyond 2026. And we appreciate the effort that's been made. And just for the public's edification, the Community Correction Program grant amount is $1,049,167. The Drug Court grant amount is $137,209. And the Mental Health Court grant amount is $42,958. All of these programs are vital. Thank you for all you do. All right, let's see if there's any public comment on this item. You raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium. All right, seeing none, we'll come back for a vote. All those in favor of approving the 2026 Department of Corrections Community Corrections Grant signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you for your
so
continued
much.
support.
Thank you.
Okay. Becca, I'm sending you an email. They have not corrected the signatory line yet. They haven't corrected the signature line yet on the document, so I'm sending an email to them now.
Okay, and I will alert my program director through the DOC as well. Thank you.
Thank you. So if we get it from Indiana, don't sign it yet.
Well, it's already, I have it.
Oh, okay. Because, yeah. All right. Cool. Thank you. All right. Next item, please.
Move approval of the 2026 Anthem Renewal Fund Name Self-Insurance Fund Number 47,000 in an amount that's various.
I second that.
We have a motion. We have a second. Good morning.
Good morning. So this is our annual process that we go through to ensure our the information for our medical plans. So what you have is the stop loss agreement, the administrative fees agreement, what's called the assumptions and conditions, and then we just added the pharmacy pricing information for you as well. And we do have Amanda Gilbert from Apex is with us to explain this in more detail if that is something that you would like. It's a lot of terms that are
I've been through this a few
not
times,
normal for the average person, right?
Yeah. Yes, it takes a bit. It's very dense language. But let's see if we have questions, and we'll start with that, and then and if she needs to chime in, that would be great. And thank you, Ms. Gilbert, for being here. Commissioner Jones, do you have any comments or questions?
Yes, insurance is always very dense language, as far as I can tell.
Commissioner Madeira?
No, I don't, actually.
Okay, well, that's easy. I actually don't either, because I looked at last year's. I cheated. So that helped. So no, I don't have any questions. It's necessary. It's obviously one of the most important benefits we can offer to our employees, especially given the crazy stuff going on in Washington, D.C. with the ACA. So I'm grateful for everyone that worked on this, Angie, legal, everyone that's worked on this. Thank you. It means a lot to all of our employees. So thanks. All right, let's see if there's any public comment on this item. You raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium. We do have one commenter.
Good morning. Sorry, I didn't put my full name there. This is David Henry. I'm a resident of Monroe County and Van Buren Township, and I'm also a member of the Monroe County Council. I wanted to thank E and the commissioners for their good work on the Anthem insurance for this year. I'd like to express a desire, at least from my own seat on County Council, as well as my colleagues, to have an opportunity to be involved in the process at looking at our insurance and self-insurance in the next fiscal year. As we know that we had some additional claims and expenses that crept up on us during the budget cycle that made things a little difficult for us as we were trying to balance the books and pay for things. And so I think if there's opportunities where we can include council leadership in the next round of decisions about how we're working through choices and claims rather than having those presented at the tail end. And settling bills might be useful as we do forecasts in our budget for the next year. Hopefully that was clear. I know sometimes the audio is choppy coming into the room, but again, thank you for everyone's hard work.
Thank you. Any other public comment on this item? You can raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium. All right, see, now we'll come back for a vote. All those in favor of approving the 2026 anthem renewal signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you so much. But stay there. We got one more for you.
Yep.
Move approval of Resolution 2025-44, the 2026 Monroe County Government Holiday Schedule.
I second.
We have a motion. We have a second. E, thank you for working on this for us this year. We appreciate it.
No problem.
Tell us all about it.
Yeah, so this is the holiday schedule for 2026, which includes the primary and general election days, and it also includes an additional holiday on January 2nd due to the day that falls in the week. So we've got the two holidays on the Wednesday and Thursday, and so that's just an additional day because that can be a challenge for people, right?
Got it. Thank you. Any comments so there's no floating holidays this year, just to be clear?
No, yeah, with those election days, that covers those.
Right. Any comments or questions, Commissioner Madeira?
No, it's good to get this stuff locked down.
Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't.
I appreciate it. It's very consistent and good work on that. And I'm going to see if there's any public comment on this item. All right, seeing none, all those in favor of approving Resolution 2025-44 signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. And we'll, thank you.
Yep, thank you very much.
And we'll move on to the next item.
Move approval of Strausser Construction Company, Inc., agreement for Election Central renovations at Showers Building North. Fund name 2025 GO bond. There is no fund number, and the amount is $653,600.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Kreider, this is a little cart and horse, but we're very soon, hopefully, going to have the vote on the GO bond again, in a few minutes. So this is if all goes well. Please tell us about this.
All right, good morning, Commissioners. We've recently received bids for renovations at the Showers Building for Election Central. The professional services provider sent a letter of recommendation based off those bids. I'd like to read that in the record if that's okay. Dear Mr. Kreider, we are pleased to recommend award to Strausser Construction Company, Inc. as the most responsible and responsive bid for the renovations in Showers North for the Monroe County Election Central renovations. Their bid packet included the project bid form and required attachments, State Form 96, and the Affidavit of Compliance. We reviewed Strausser Construction Company, Inc.'s material and subcontractors list for the project and have found it acceptable. Our firm has multiple project experiences working with Strausser Construction Company, Inc. on a range of project scales and types and can speak to the care they put into their work and their ability to deliver a project on schedule. We recommend accepting Strausser Construction Co. Inc.'s base bid and alternate bid pricing as follows for a total contract amount of $653,600. So with that said, This request is to accept the proposal submitted by Strausser Construction Company, Inc. in the amount of $653,600 to furnish all material and labor and perform all work necessary to complete renovations for Election Central in accordance with the contract documents. Wow.
Excellent work.
All right.
You made that look easy, and I know it took a long time to get to that point, so thank you. Comments or questions? Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't.
Commissioner Madeira?
No.
So initially, we'd received a much higher estimate from the architect and the firm about what it would cost to create this space, and we have to create this space. This is for the elections, early voting, and election office, and that is something that is no longer on Walnut and 3rd Street. So how did you manage to get that price cut?
That's a great question. Initial estimates came in at 1.3 to 1.5 million. And at that time, the space, it's zoned as an office space, the occupancy. And changing it to early voting changes the occupancy, which required additional construction, a lot of extra materials, labor, man hours, because you need to completely encapsulate the ceiling. And when you walk in, you see an 8-foot ceiling with a suspended ceiling. Actually, above that, it goes several feet higher to the floor above. And we were going to have to encapsulate all that. Well, we, because of the limited use of the space, twice a year, I think, we were actually able to receive a variance through the state to maintain the current occupancy, and it saved a lot of man hours and material.
A lot of money for county taxpayers too. It reduced our bond request for the GO bond. So thank you for working on that and for getting that variance from the state. I appreciate that. As do all county residents. Thank you for that. And we should be on schedule for the spring early voting primary season.
Oh, we're on schedule. Yes.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you.
In fact, the Strausser, they've been great to work with. They're doing a lot of the behind the scenes things to prepare and gear up so that we're not just, we're going to hit the ground running.
Great. Thank you for that. And your attention to detail on this project is incomparable. Thank you. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item. You can raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium. Have Ms. Ferris from the clerk's office. Good morning. You need to unmute. There you go. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, commissioners. I just want to say thank you very much to Richard Kreider for working very diligently on this with us and ensuring that all of the needs that are needed are being met. I also want to say thank you to you, the commissioners, for making sure that this is getting done and ready to roll for the primary election in May.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And we appreciate that you and others from the clerk's office have worked with Mr. Kreider throughout this planning process to get this all set up and to make sure that this space will work. And I believe it will, and everybody's happy. So excellent. Any other public comment on this item? All right, seeing none, all those in favor of approving the Strausser Construction Company, Inc. agreement for Election Central renovations at Showers Building North signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Move approval of the 2026-27 written plan to use food and beverage tax funds in accordance with Indiana Code 6-9-41-14.
A second.
We have a motion and we have a second. This is, I will step in here, this is something that we passed just a few weeks ago, but because the county council wanted to reduce the general obligation bond amount, this will add a $905,000 project to food and beverage funding to ensure that the Monroe County Nature Preserve is ready for receiving residents and visitors. And obviously, we do believe that this is a tourist attraction, and in that way, it fulfills the requirements for the Food and Beverage Fund. So there is a Food and Beverage Tax Advisory Commission meeting tomorrow. And if we approve this, I will be presenting it there. Mr. Cockrell, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Oh, this is a state required document that we have to file with the state of Indiana and pursuant that to the Indiana Code section dealing with this. And I would also say this somewhat reflects some of the conversations that was at the previous Food and Beverage Advisory Commission as well. There was some comments by some of the other members of that board about utilizing some of that funding for this property.
Right, but that was to build athletic fields, which we're not going to do. That's a very different thing. But yes, but we were hopeful. I mean, this is work that has to get done to ensure that the park is accessible to the public, and that's something we have to do in order to receive this gift. So it's vital that this gets done. And since we cannot use GO bond funding, this works well. Any questions from my colleagues? Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Commissioner Madeira? Okay. Any public comment on this item? You can raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium. All right, seeing none, all those in favor of approving the revised 2026-27 written plan to use food and beverage tax funds for Monroe County, signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you to my colleagues for supporting that. And we'll move on to the next item, please.
Move approval of Resolution 2025-38-C, approving the issuance of a general obligation bond, fund name and number to be determined, in an amount up to $6 million.
I second.
All right, we have a motion and we have a second. Mr. Cockrell.
Yes, and this is the third time we've done this. This is just changing the project list, and this project list is changed to reflect what was approved by the county council on Tuesday night. I think the primary changes were a Justice Building repair, and we removed, I think, the YSV, more of the placement of the Justice Building repair, so that the modifier of the clerk space, it's clear that it's going to be in the Showers Building.
I'd like to also add that additionally, you added a body scanner for the sheriff's office as well as 2 jail transport vehicles that were not previously.
Correct. And we dropped the nature preserve because we just we're going to put it in food and beverage. So that falls under equipment for the sheriff's department. Yes. Okay.
Correct.
All right, excellent.
Or vehicles.
And vehicles.
And vehicles.
Yeah.
Yes, and
But
vehicles, right. And vehicles are there, yes.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the scanners, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Any comments or questions? Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't.
Commissioner Madeira?
Nope, I'm grateful that we got this process wrangled through earlier this week.
Yeah. Who needs sleep? All right. See if there's any public comment on this item. You raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium. right, seeing none, all those in favor of approving Resolution 2025-38-C signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0, and now we can actually get Strausser Construction working on the Showers building. All right, next item, please.
Move approval of ordinance 2025-40 to amend various traffic ordinances.
I second.
We have a motion, we have a second. We have Ms. Ridge here to tell us all about it. Good morning.
These items did go before the Traffic Commission on October 16th, and they were all approved, and they are all warranted within the Indiana MUTCD. It is amending Ordinance 86-09 to add a 20-mile-per-hour speed limit on Salt Creek Drive, Salt Creek Court, Winfrey Lane, Knob Creek Road. Amend Ordinance 86-06 to delete the following stop locations: Falcon Drive for Gordon Pike, Wicken Street for Gordon Pike, Clearview Drive for Gordon Pike, Rockport for Fullerton Pike, Fullerton Pike for Rockport Road, Sunrise Greetings Court for Vernal Pike. Amend 86-06 to add the following stop locations: Falcon Drive for Fullerton Pike, Wicken Street for Fullerton Pike. Amend Ordinance 86-12 to add the following yield locations: Fullerton Pike for Fullerton Pike Roundabout, Clearview Drive for Fullerton Pike Roundabout, Gordon Pike for Fullerton Pike Roundabout, Bachelor Drive for Fullerton Pike Roundabout. Amend Ordinance 00-32 to add the following traffic signal location. That would be at the intersection of Fullerton Pike and Rockport Road and the intersection of Vernal Pike and Sunrise Greetings Court. And amend 00-31 to add the following no turn on red location, eastbound Fullerton Pike for Rockport Road. Most of these are in accordance with the new installation of a roundabout on the Fullerton Pike project.
All right, and road name change and the completion of the other big project, which
Sunrise.
was Sunrise, which now has a stoplight on Vernal. All right. Comments or questions? Commissioner Madeira?
No, a bunch of essential changes, and glad again to see this done.
Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't. Thank you.
All right. I don't have any either, except thank you for the attention to detail, as always, and our thanks to the Traffic Commission. All right. Any public comment on this item? You may raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium. All right, seeing none, all those in favor of approving Ordinance 2025-40 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Ms. Ridge. All right. I did want to talk through a couple things because, well, first of all, let's go through the usual, which is that we do know that SNAP benefits, Supported Nutrition Assistance Program benefits, are going to end Saturday. And we are going to be posting something on our website, both for those who need food assistance and those who are able to donate and help. One of the things I know is that there are a lot of really generous people in this community. And we've got our friends and neighbors who are hurting across the US. I believe the average is 1 in 8 people receive some sort of nutrition assistance benefits. That's across the country. We do know that there are a number of people in this county who receive it, a number of households that receive it. And one of the things that may help and does always help is going through the pantry and sharing with others in our community. And there are so many food pantries, and almost every township trustee has a food pantry of some sort. Of course, there's Mother Hubbard's Cupboard, Pantry 279, Grace Food Pantry down in Harrodsburg. There are too many to name, actually. But we will put that up on our website so that if you know someone who needs help, you know where to go. The biggest supplier of food in this community for those in need is the Hoosier Hills Food Bank. And as a food bank, one of the best ways that you can give is to actually donate money. They can buy a lot more food per dollar than you can at a grocery store. And so if you can, please open your hearts, your wallets, check on your neighbors and friends, and see what you can do to help those in need at this terrible time for them. And we do appreciate all the great folks who volunteer and staff the Hoosier Hills Food Bank and all of the food pantries and other organizations that help people in need. We really, really do appreciate your hard work all year round, but sadly, it's only going to get tougher, at least for the short term. I'm not sure long term if it's going to get much better. I do want to note that we do have office hours, and they are held 6 times each month. You just go to the calendar at our website, in.gov/counties/Monroe. That's our new home web page. And while you're there, please sign up to be alerted for any emergencies, whether they be medical, highway, or other, through our resident alert service. This is an amazing service, and we encourage people to sign up and stay safe. There is the 10th Annual Monroe County Childhood Conditions Summit, which will be held on Thursday, November 13th from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., and that will be at the Monroe County Convention Center. The admission for that event is free, and the event is open to the public, of course. We continue to offer the opportunity to donate blood. The blood drive that we've held in conjunction with the Red Cross. The next is Wednesday, November 12th, 2025, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Ivy Tech, and Thursday, November 13th, 2025, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. also at Ivy Tech, rooms C130A and B. Please go to redcross.org to make an appointment. We also have in our minutes a list of phone numbers and email addresses for each of our township trustees. And again, if you are looking for food resources or assistance during this difficult time, please contact your township trustee. They can help you directly or provide information on where you can find assistance. I believe my colleagues may also want to chime in, but I've been asked the question after Tuesday's council meeting as what's next. And that's a great question, because that's pretty much all I think all of us have been thinking about. And it's not a great event for us in our lives. We've spent 5 years on this project. And, you know, all along the way, working with the council, all along the way, working with the council. But it's been 5 years. And we have had a number of points along the way where we've obviously engaged with, involved council members, board of judges, prosecutor, public defender's office, the clerk's office. It's been a collaborative effort to this point. And we reviewed 4 properties in 2022, Fullerton Pike, which was the corner of the southeast corner of Fullerton and I-69, was selected as the best site. We wanted to be as close to the city as possible, and that is actually in the city limits. It did require a rezone from the city, but the City Planning Commission and the City Council both denied it. But here they are telling us what to do, telling us that we should work with them. It's a little rich, a little too late. We also actually considered a portion of the Hopewell property as well. It would have divided the jail and the rest of the justice structure, the courts and prosecutor and everything else. And so it wasn't ideal in that way, but it's downtown, it's close by. And we were told no regarding Hopewell. So then we went to look at the Thompson property we already owned in the city limits again. This time it wasn't the city that stood in our way, it was Mother Nature, and of course all of the people who have owned the property in the past. There's a massive 10-acre mound of dirt that would have to be moved. Electrical supports would have to be moved and removed by Duke, which would be at least a 2.5-year delay, plus another $2 million. The city would have to approve us to build in this quarry sinkhole area. We would have had to do a tree study. It's a lot of time. It's extra money. And we moved on. And as we honed in on North Park, which I believe was the favored property for the fact that it is unencumbered, it is not karsty and like Swiss cheese, and it is flat, and it doesn't have anything on it. It's available. It's been the favorite for many of us on the inside of this project. So as we were finalizing those last plans, we were asked to consider a Vernal Pike property, because why not? So once again, like we did with Thompson, we met with area residents. They were opposed. But the property is not ideal for a lot of reasons. There are sinkholes, and it's uneven, and it would have required a forced annexation for folks on Vernal Pike just to receive sewer service, and we weren't happy with doing the work of the city for them. But really the property, when Ms. Hamidovic looked at both properties, she said North Park is ideal in terms of its geography and engineering. So we looked at North Park again. We asked the council to support the purchase of the property in 2024. All along the way, we've been including and working with very extensively folks in county government, whether they be elected or department heads. And we have been working with the good people at DLZ, and it has been a lot of work trying to meet the demands and expectations of every single group and every single office. But Scott Carnegie and his staff have done an admirable job, and we appreciate their work. And as we're moving into 2025, we had the county council approve the corrections tax to supplement the edit that would both be used to provide a 20-year bond to pay for this facility. And the total cost over 20 years is eye-watering. It's a high number, but this is vital infrastructure. And we've seen what happens when you try to save money on a building. And you can look at the current Justice Building for that answer. We had the funds ready for liftoff, we need the schematics done, and then ask the council for the bond. But then the state legislature intervened. And the state legislature, we're ready for takeoff, we had the money. State legislature said, how about 3 more obstacles for you? Why not? So, and that's where we've been at. Now, again, the council approved the corrections tax, the council approved the purchase agreement. I heard in general 4 issues raised by various members of the council on Tuesday night or into the early morning hours of Wednesday. And there's no agreement from them. There is no agreement in that group about what to do next. But location, well, there will be bus service. Didn't we talk about this? We did talk about this, because why would we put a bus route where there's a field with cows right now? We wouldn't start the bus service yet, but there will be bus service. And not everybody lives downtown either, so what do people do now when they get out of the facility? The cost, it's a high number, but we've reduced what came out of the initial plans, working with DLZ and every single department head, and none of them are happy, which tells you that we've reduced the cost. The size, well, I'm going to borrow from our illustrious football coach and say, Google it, Vigo County. See what happens when you don't build an appropriately sized jail. That is not going to help anyone who lives in Monroe County. Legislature, yep, they're always a question. It's always a question. There's never a known there. Certainly, things were super crazy in 2025. But I don't see that as a reason to say no, because I don't see that legislature changing anytime soon. And we do not have constitutional care in our jail. We have schematic drawings, well, not schematic, sorry. We have drawings, we have designs. These are available and present in both our office and in the legal office. And we've had the meetings with council. We've certainly had meetings with a number of department heads going through each point, each possibility. We've talked about, I've been in many of those meetings, we've talked about, the size of the desk and the aisleway and where's the kitchenette and how big is it and how many people use it. And there's a lot of detail that's already been done based on North Park. And we have continued to proceed and continue to work based on what the council has approved to date. Now, I ask my colleagues, sorry to put you on the spot, but have any of you received a phone call from any council member since Tuesday night or early Monday or early Wednesday? Have you? About this? and what they plan to do? No, I haven't. There's no agreement on the council. And there needs to be enough agreement on the council to build consensus. They've got a lot of work to do. We've done our job, and I think we've done our job well. We've done our job because of DLZ, because of Angie, because of Jeff, because of all the people in our office who have helped make this project work, and with all the department heads who participated. Thank you. I hope that your work and efforts has not been in vain. So with that, ball's in your court, council. But Commissioner Jones, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Well, yes, I just hope that moving forward, the council can come together a bit more in agreement, and hopefully this project will still be able to happen.
Commissioner Madeira?
Yes, I actually have some thoughts. I previously mentioned on Tuesday that I believe we can't renovate the existing building because of architectural constraints. In addition, in its current form, we can't effectively provide healthcare, mental health care, vocational, educational, and reentry services. We can't provide adequate recreational space, gender equitable work opportunities, separate people by risk, gender, medical needs, and other factors. But at Tuesday's council meeting, I actually mentioned that despite our admirable community values and our intentions, local efforts can only have so much of an effect on incarceration rates, and that advocacy efforts can actually be really, really effective on the state level and on the local level, certainly, but really primarily on the state level. And so a lot of folks have reached out and asked me what I meant. And so I'd like to talk more a little bit about some of these statewide legislative measures that are coming that will potentially swell our jail populations and that make our current situation even more desperate. So Indiana is a qualified right to bail state right now, meaning that anyone charged with any crime but murder or treason will have bail set against them. Additionally, there is also a presumption of release, and judges utilize a risk assessment tool for bail setting that helps them do that. Currently, though, Indiana doesn't allow for preventative detention. So judges often take matters into their own hands, and they set bail excessively for some offenders. So that makes cash bail a proxy for de facto detention. And statutes in Indiana aren't clear on what constitutes excessive bail. So to fix this, Indiana has proposed a preventative detention measure. We have this, and it says basically dangerous suspects are to be held without bail. 22 states and the federal government currently have this. So in 2023, according to Senate Joint Resolution 1, that amends Article 1, Section 17 of the Indiana Constitution. That will allow for all other offenses other than murder or treason to not be bailable if two factors are met. If proof is evident or the presumption is strong, and the state proves by clear and convincing evidence that no release conditions will reasonably protect the safety of any other person or the community. This requires, it's a constitutional amendment, so it requires language to pass out of a separate General Assembly before going to the ballot for Hoosier citizens to approve. So to take effect, it must pass the General Assembly again, the exact language, in 25-26, and it must win voter approval, likely on the November 2026 ballot. This is not that far away. It is not yet certified for the ballot, of course, because it has to make its way through this legislature. But if adopted, we can expect a lot more pretrial detention, longer lengths of stay for defendants flagged as dangerous. But note, this process of preventative detention can be subject to misuse and overuse. It provides no instruction to judges. It establishes no due process protections. It offers no guidelines for judges to follow before detaining someone that judges think is quote unquote a public safety risk. In addition, we have proposed Criminal Rule 4D that is open for comment until October 2025. So it's just about current right now. The court has proposed cutting the case continuance period from 90 to 70 days and allowing judges to keep individuals accused of felonies level 3 to level 1 and murder jailed during continuances. This means more jailed bedtimes, even for a shorter continuance clock. In addition, we have Public Law 197, where arrestees for crimes of violence are to be held until a hearing is held by the court that sets bail individually and in open court. Again, this means longer stays in jail, more people in jail. And there's also a proposal for statewide minimum bail. Currently, Indiana lacks a uniform statewide schedule, so counties set their own provisional amounts. For some reason, state officials are worried that folks lack incentives to show up for their trials or that judges are setting bail too low. So they're looking at imposing a statewide minimum bail that effectively puts people in jail if they cannot afford to post bail. This will disproportionately detain low-income individuals, exacerbate health problems, and have little impact on crime rates, but it will also swell our county jail populations extraordinarily high. We already are facing every legislative session sentencing and charging changes that also indirectly swell our jail populations. Outside the bail rules, criminal penalty upgrades mean higher pretrial jail populations and increased costs for counties. In addition, I have a grim and dismal prediction. So in Howard County and in Allen County, which were also under ACLU settlement agreements, they had measures where they were dragging their feet. The ACLU called in the federal courts. They brought the counties to heel in what were called private settlement agreements. That cost the county a great deal of private autonomy. And in addition, the counties ended up building jails. So I have a prediction when our settlement agreement ends, which is going to happen in a couple of months, that we will soon end in a private settlement agreement. We will end up losing our autonomy, our privilege of choice, and we in turn will have to build a jail, which might end up being bigger, badder, and in a location we don't want because we lost our choice and our chance.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I do want to offer the opportunity for Mr. Cockrell and Ms. Purdy, if you wish to add anything that we've not addressed, because you've both been working so hard on this.
I just would, the only thing I would add is I don't think anybody really understands the incredible amount of time and effort and really tough decision-making that goes through the process that we've gotten to get to this point. I mean, it was extremely intensive, particularly after the first report where the budget was at $239 million. We have always set the goal and made the requirement, and we've expressed it to all our contractors, that we are not going to back to the county council to ask for an increase in the corrections lit, even though there's a little room left. We are going to work with what the numbers are of what was already approved. And so we were going to make sure that whatever we came up with fit within the budget as we understood it. And it was just a tremendous amount. And it's, there were meetings we walked out of and said, man, we had to cut things, or we had to recommend cuts that, we think are necessary, just to make sure we can comply with the fiscal constraints that we knew about.
Thank you for that. Ms. Purdy?
I don't have anything in addition to that. I think that yourself and Commissioner Madeira and Mr. Cockrell have pretty much summed it up. It was it was just a blow to the gut on Tuesday. And frankly, very depressed about how we're going to go forward, if we can even go forward. This is just like having the rug pulled out from underneath you.
It is easy to say no. It's harder to create, and we've spent 5 years collaboratively getting to the point where we're at on Tuesday, and to just be told no. Okay, well then, what's the option? And I personally don't think, I was asked the question about, well, where do you go back to the beginning? And it's like, well, we've spent 5 years and we've looked at all of the possible properties. We have a design for a property. We spent money to get there, and we've spent money all along the way to survey and study the properties that we've been looking at. We spent 6 months with the city for Fullerton Pike, and that was a no. I don't think any of us should play Groundhog Day and redo that process, but I didn't hear anything else. I don't know that any land's been manufactured and is suddenly available right downtown where everybody wants it. There are a lot of issues with the downtown. If you look at all the empty storefronts, you may understand that. And local business, we were talking about how often people eat out for lunch when they're county employees, and the answer is not often. But a lot of them do order in, and that can happen anywhere in the county. So, but North Park is right outside the city limits, and I do mean right outside. Just because you're crossing a highway doesn't mean it's a continent away. It's across the highway. It is available land, it is flat land, it's good land to build on, and we had an opportunity to do so. I don't know what happens next either, but I'm sure eager to hear from anyone on the council who wants to talk about what they are going to do rather than just say no to. So with that, I think we've provided all the information we have at this moment, and we will keep everyone updated as we move along. Yeah, please.
I think if there are discussions to be had, they must take place in weeks or months instead of years. We have no more time. The time essentially has run out. And so I think that's the sticking point here. And we have inmates in prison who are suffering. And so we have a lawsuit breathing down our necks. And these solutions that are out there, whatever they are, must include solutions that defray these problems, as well as solutions that don't expend taxpayer dollars needlessly to keep resuscitating a dying building.
Right, and yes, to protect our staff, to protect those folks who are currently incarcerated in the Monroe County Jail, and for our community at large, we need to get this done. And I would love to live in a world where there are no jails. That world does not exist. I would love to live in a world where we talk this through until we all come to a consensus. That world doesn't exist either, because there are folks who say there should be zero jail. Well, good luck telling a federal judge that when we have no jail. We are constitutionally required to provide a jail as commissioners. Not my favorite thing in the world. I'd much rather be building treatment centers and schools and recreation areas and 1,000 other things I would rather build, but we do have an obligation. And that is to protect our community, protect our staff who work in the criminal justice system, to protect the people who are there, to provide for treatment and medical care and constitutional care for inmates. That's our obligation. Again, 100 other things I'd rather build, but we have to do this. We have to do this, yeah.
If there is some way to have some community, county government conversation accelerated on steroids, I would love to have that. That would just zoom us forward into the future. But I just can't foresee any way to make that happen on the current timeline.
Right, and I will tell you, those are conversations we've been having all along the way for the last 5 years. It's not like, there were some new faces in the room Tuesday night, but there were some familiar faces. But these are conversations that we've been having all along. And so to have another, okay, but I don't know what that gets us, because to say no is easy. To build and create and to collaborate and to do as much as you can is hard, and it takes time, and that's been the last 5 years. Angie, did you have something you wanted to add? You came up to the mic.
Yeah, no. I'm just thinking about the number of public meetings that were held over the past few years regarding the search for property, and you guys received a lot of public input. Nobody wants this facility in their backyard. That is just a fact. We're not going to ever be able to make everybody happy. And as I said before, it's extremely frustrating. We've expended over $3 million already at this point in time on this project. We have a failing building that is not just a jail. The entire facility is a nightmare.
Yeah.
And it's not that it wasn't cared for. I do want to put that out there. You just cannot renovate a building while it's occupied 24/7 to the level that would need to have been renovated, but it still wouldn't have been provided the necessary space for the jail. So that comment was specific to the people who are working that are not part of the 24/7 jail facility. I don't know what else you guys can do. I really don't.
Yeah, and a lot of the members of the public were calling it our project. And yes, commissioners have to provide the building. That is our job. That is our constitutional requirement, statutory requirement to provide a jail. But this project has been collaborative all along. And there are things I'm not excited about. There are things that others aren't excited about. And it runs the gamut. There are things about this bill, it's not quite what I envisioned, but we have to cut costs, or we have to make this work. And this is part of building such a huge project. You would think for that much money, it should be exactly what we want. But what is it that we all want? We are not all going to agree on that. If we sat down right now and drew out our ideal facility space, it would not look the same at all. And so we have to be careful. We cannot be reckless. We have to provide a facility. And again, easy to say no, difficult to do the work.
And we have to provide a facility that will serve us now as well as it will 50 years in the future.
Yeah. So everybody Google Vigo County if you want a small facility. Great. Okay. All right, I think we've done enough here. Yes? I think we've responded. Okay. I'm sure we'll have more to say. But for now, what I will let folks know is that we do have our next meeting, which is Thursday, November 6th. And we do not have a work session today. So with that, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for letting us speak out.